Hello and welcome to Dabbling in Journals, and I'm back after a really long period of time without making a video. Thank you very much everybody that sent me messages, that sent me happy mails. I have received them. I am so sorry that I haven't replied to anyone. I haven't even been in touch with friends that live locally to me, and I will explain what's been going on with me in this video. So welcome if you're new here, and welcome back if you are a subscriber or have followed me in the past. I should just start with a quick trigger warning because I want to explain where I've been. I will be making reference to both physical illnesses and mental illnesses, and if you think that's something that might upset you, then please either click off this video or mute me, which is probably a wise advice for all of you. You won't have to listen to me chuntering on. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I am going to empty out this traveller's notebook because I haven't used it since shortly after I did my last video. So I haven't used it for months and I miss it. I miss it so much. And I'm so glad that I'm feeling able to make this video today. So I'm going to empty it out and then I'm going to sort through what's inside and I'm going to do a new setup. So I'm in my brown traveller's notebook, as I often am for my videos, and this is from Traveller's Company. I've got these lovely Traveller's Factory charm, Namada Store charm, Superior Labour paperclip and a Kaweco brass pen in the pen loop, which I made myself because I know people that are new often say, how have you got a pen loop? And I think actually it was from Chic Sparrow back in the day. Yes, it is. Back in the day, Chic Sparrow used to do a sort of stick-on pen loop. I don't know if they still do, and I purchased one with a Chic Sparrow purchase, and that's what I've used. But you could get any bit of leather and just cut it to the size that you want, stick it on, and then to hide it I've just put a Traveller's Company plastic pocket with a little card in so you can't see where I've stuck on the pen loop, and I think that looks great. So let's empty it out and see what I want to keep in here and what I need to change. So I think the easiest thing to do is just completely dismantle it. This is my last memory keeping journal, which I've already flipped through with you. And I haven't done another one since. So months and months of missed memories that I haven't captured. I might try and do a bit of a catch up and see whether or not there's anything I want to add to my journal for this year. But I tried to keep it really positive, and as life has been really tough for me over the last months, I don't know if I want to journal about that in my happy memory keeping journal. I've got lots of it in my mental health journal, and that's the best place for it, I think. So this one is nearly finished. There's just like one page left, and I've probably got a couple of things I can fill that up with. So I'm going to remove that. I'll be keeping this, which has got my photographs of my family, my daughters, my son. Oh, he's got short hair now. He's had his hair all cut off, so I need a new picture. And my granddaughters and grandson, and they're growing up fast, so I probably need a new picture. And my partner and my son, who is now taller than him, so that's definitely an old picture. And this is my daughter's best friend, who I think of as an adopted daughter, with her little baby, and he's walking about now. So yes, and that's my sister's family, and my nephew's now married, so I need new photos. I need loads and loads of new photos, but I will do that at some future point. And these are all my little like things that I love, my little bits and pieces that I have, you know, Traveller's notebook, ephemera that I've either purchased or been gifted. Mostly I think been gifted. I've got a Superior Labour tag here because I love their products. Another Traveller's Factory little tag. This is a Sojourner journal little tag. They do their tags on leather, which is really lovely. So I kept that because I have a couple of Sojourner notebooks. I've got a little sticker here which says Happy Holidays. So it's a Traveller's Notebook or Traveller's Factory. I don't know what the difference is between those two things. If anyone can tell me the difference between Traveller's Company and Traveller's Factory, do tell me. But I know they're slightly different. I'm just hoarding that. And I've got an LCN Designs. I love that particular brand. So I've got their tag in here. And a Namada Store sticker that I'm hoarding, a Quaco sticker, and so on. So that's like all my little treasures. It's my little treasures, so it has to stay in. So I'll put that to this side. And then my Travelers, this is a Travelers factory wallet made in Japan. It's made of leather. It's gorgeous. It's really soft, really thin, so it adds no bulk. And it's one of those things, I know people will say, where do you get that? I don't know if they are still making them. It's the kind of thing you have to hunt down. They sometimes pop up in shops and you can get them, but they're not sort of standard. At the moment, they're doing canvas wallets, which are also very beautiful. But I'm lucky enough to have one of these, and I've just got all kinds of little bits and pieces. So that's that. This is a poem that my daughter wrote for me. She's currently going through a very acrimonious divorce. Shall I read? We're hoping it's nearly over. It's been a year now since an incident which led to them separating. And it's taken a long time to sort everything out, as these things do. And it's been so heartbreaking. I mean, on top of everything else I'm going to tell you about, remember that all of the things that have happened to me over the summer have been on top of my daughter struggling with her divorce. And she wrote me this poem. Shall I read it to you? I'll read it to you. It says, anchor in the storm. In life's stormy sea, you are my anchor strong, guiding us gently where we belong. With love and wisdom, your heart so pure, you ease our burdens, help us endure. Mummy, you care for my children three, a love so deep, so pure, so free. You feed them, hold them, wipe their tears. Our strength and comfort soothe their fears. In this stormy divorce, you've made me feel strong. With your unwavering support, I know I belong. Your presence a calming balm. In your embrace, we find our calm. For all you've done and all you give, you teach us daily how to live. I hope to win enough to keep them safe, happy and housed in a loving place. Thank you, Mummy, from the depths of my heart for being our foundation, our guiding start. In your love, we find our way. With you, our worries melt away. I couldn't have done this without you near. Your love, my strength, my rock, my dear. Forever grateful, forever true. Mummy, I deeply love you. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing up. I always tear up when I read that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've been there for her, and she obviously thinks that I have, and that's what's important, isn't it? All you can do when there's difficult times in your life is support the people that you love in any way that you can. And so obviously I want to keep that in my journal because it means a lot to me. So that's that. Ooh, let's move on. What else do I want to take out of here? So trying to find the middle. Oh, I'm on elastics now, so if I take this one out, I've got a tarot journal here, which again I haven't used for ages. So what I think I might do, I don't know if I want to keep it in here. I'll put it on the maybe pile. And then I have this little wallet which is full of stuff. Look at all this lovely stuff, and I'm going to use that to decorate my new inserts. And then here I have my folder, which I'm collecting stickers on. And then I have a postcard on the back. So I want to put the new stickers for this year on this folder here. So I'm going to keep that folder, and I need to have a look. Oh, look at all the goodies that are inside it. So many goodies. And these are mostly gifted to me by you, my lovely, lovely friends and subscribers and followers. And oh, I need to go through that. So I haven't actually got rid of anything yet. Well, this I can, because this is a diary insert from 2024. They come in 2 inserts. You get 2 for the year. As you can see, the last time I used this, I've got some bits written in. I stopped decorating, and then the last time I used it was April. So that's when my life all went to pants. And I haven't used it since. Oh, I need to keep that though. That really cool postcard. That's why often I just clip things that I want to keep onto my notebooks, because if you stick them on, then you can't reuse them. Whereas that's a really lovely traveller's notebook postcard, which was gifted to me by a lovely friend. So I want to keep that. And I probably will need the rubber band. And then let's just check out this last bit. Oh, and this has just got it's just a folder with some little bits and pieces in it that I need. I've got my little, my little origami waste bin, which my lovely friend Louise, same friend, taught us how to make on one of her videos. So do check out her videos. And I've got just some stickers in there. Like, no, not stickers, sorry. They are like sticky spots. So you can stick things into your notebook. They're double-sided sticky tape. And I almost never use them, but I still want to keep them. So that's like, oh, that's not looking much thinner. All right, I've decided I am going to get rid of the tarot journal. I'll put that in my tarot folder or traveller's notebook, where it should be better placed. And let's have a look at what new things I have that I want to put into my new traveller's notebook. It's not new, it's my old one. It's the one I always use. I'll use it for my whole life. I love it. I just love it. And they last forever. They last forever. Well, unless I did have one that my dog ate. That didn't last forever. But you couldn't blame the traveller's notebook. It was not dog resistant. Right, let's have a look at some of the new bits that I've got. And I still haven't gotten around to telling you where I've been. I don't quite know how to fit it in without being boring. I feel like I need to have something visual to show you. Let's look through some of the new bits that I have, which you'll have all seen because I'm very late in the day. I'm just going to look at the regular sized traveller's notebook bits for this year. Well, it's not for this year. Don't know what I'm talking about. It's for next year, 2025. And I've bought the new, oh my goodness, this theme couldn't have been better for me. I am so hopeful that 2025 for me will just be filled with love and no hardships. I know everybody has hardships. It's not just me, but this has got the theme of love, and it's just like perfect for me to try to feel positive moving forward. And so this is the writing board. I just buy them. I mean, I've got loads. I don't need them. It's a collector thing. But it's always nice to have a new one in your traveller's notebook each year. This one is so beautiful. So we've got a little music player. We've got our traveller's notebook, which we can fill with love. And that's what I always try to do with my memory keeping journal, is to fill it with love. We've got a little peace dove here, which I think is gorgeous. He's even holding a traveller's notebook in his beak. Add flowers to your traveller's notebooks. Okay, yeah, I will do that. Pack your 11 notebooks in your bag. And then there's the travellers. All the travellers need is love. What a wonderful world with a musical instrument and clinking glasses to love and trips. Hello, I am a traveller with love. I just think that, I'm sorry I read it all to you. You can probably read it yourself. I just think that's the most gorgeous one they've done so far. So that's going to be going in here. I also bought the stickers, but this is the sticker set. You always get these letters that I always say I'm going to use and then I don't. And then these little pockets that you can stick into your notebook. And then they're little pockets that you can pop things in. Love and trip. Have a nice trip with love. Every traveller's notebook is filled with love. Oh, and the gramophone. I know I don't use them often because I sometimes use them on a happy mail for somebody that I really care about. But I find it hard to use them on myself. Use them in my own journals because I think, oh, I haven't got many. I've only got 3. How can I use them? So I'll treasure those. And then we've got the stickers, which are all gorgeous. And I'll use some of those in my decoration today. And then we've got the tags and the dots, which are lovely and useful in a planner. And I'll talk about my planning in a future video. This is a journaling video. At which point some people are now going to click off all that gabble, and we've only just found out it's a journal, not a planner. So I will be using some of these in my setup. Then I've just got a new refill for my, I think these are the little freebies that came with my order from misopaper.co. Look at .co.uk. Look at this little cut, really nice note paper, some little kind of frame washi tape. They're always lovely. Really grungy one, like me a bit of grunge sometimes. Really pretty floral one, and this gorgeous sticker of somebody writing happy mail. And that is going to be my next goal after doing this video. If I can remember how to edit, and I've got it up, I am going to write to my happy mail friends, who must think I am the worst person in the world because I've not been in touch for months and months and months. Right, so I've got those. Oh, and the next thing to show you is obviously the folder. I say obviously, if you're not a Travellers Company collector like me, you might think, don't know what you're talking about, obviously a folder. But this is last year's, which has my bits in. And this is this year's, and look at this. So gorgeous. So we've got a cat. Mel, if by any chance you're watching, having not seen a video from me for months, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even know if YouTube will show my video to people, given that I haven't posted for months and months and months. I don't know how the algorithms work, but they don't always show videos from people that post as infrequently as I have recently. I not at all. But we've got this little folder, so there's a cat on it, little camera. That always makes me think of my daughter, who's now an art therapist, but her first degree was fine art photography. We've got a lovely little traveller's notebook here, all decorated with stickers. I really like that circle of people connecting with nature, it makes me think. And then again, we've got the traveller's notebook itself, the leather cover, and some beer. Oh, that's cool. I think coffee or wine would have been better, but I don't mind the odd beer. So that's my little folder. So that's going in the back. So that's the first thing I can do, is just transfer what I have in here. Right, let's pop that in. So that's a start, isn't it? And then we've got this. So let's go with, should I empty this and go through it all? I think I should. Maybe not in this video, but I'm going to empty it all and decide what I want to put back inside. So I've emptied that out. I've just got a few real treasures in the front here. Oh, my lovely stickers. And oh gosh, I haven't seen you guys for so long. Coffee sticker, Travellers Cafe from last year. So I do want to add a sticker on here. So I'm going to keep him or her. Why did I say him? Ooh, there's a little sticker. Hiding. It's hiding. Right, let's put that one in. Okay, so how are we going to do this? This is my memory keeping journal. So I have a new one, and I'm going to decorate it. Well, I've managed to do quite a lot of video without talking about my tale of woe, which is really good for people that don't normally follow me. But maybe they already clicked off because I said I was going to. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's say I definitely want this and this. So I know that. So this is going to go round my middle insert. So what I think I will do is I will take my elastic band and I'll put it around my file folder that I know I want, and I'll put it around my zipper wallet that I know I want, and they're empty, so they're all skinny at the moment. And I'm going to just take the bookmark out of the way. For those of you not familiar with Travellers notebooks, you attach your inserts with elastics, and if you don't have the Travellers notebook elastic band, you can just use elastic and pop that in. So now I've got 2 inserts into my Travellers notebook, and there's room here for me to add a notebook here, and a notebook here if I want to, but I'm actually going to put the notebook that I'm going to be using next in the middle, because that makes it the most flat, which is really cool for your sort of memory keeping journaling. So I just take the middle string and I'll pop that one in here. Oh my goodness, how skinny does it look? At the moment, unless I suddenly decide I'm going to put more stuff in, but at the moment it is quite slim. So if you're a slim traveler's notebook person, you'll approve of it at its current state. Might not approve of it by next week. Right, so what I want to do now is decorate my insert, and given I still need to explain myself, I think the best thing for me to do is to decorate that whilst I talk about where I've been and what's been happening in my life, for those of you that care about me and want to know what's been happening. And I will decorate this, so if you don't want to hear what's been happening to me, this is the point to meet me. Perfect. Okay, so the first thing for me to do is to distress my notebook, because even though I've been missing for ages, my taste hasn't changed. I do like to distress my notebooks. So I'm using here Rusty Hinge ink from Tim Holtz. It's his distress ink. And I've got a very worn dabber tool. Oh, that's good. It's not the one for this, because that looks like it needs replacing. So I've got a little sponge. I always keep a little sponge velcroed onto the back of my ink pads so that I can distress. Okay, so anybody who follows me knows that in, I think it was Easter time, my son went into hospital. And that was having, that was following a surgery earlier in the year. He had an emergency surgery earlier in the year. But he went into hospital at Easter with acute pain. We took him to accident and emergency, and they thought he had appendicitis. But when he was scanned, it was discovered that whilst he had a lot of inflammation in the area around his appendix was okay. And so they told us that he has something called mesenteric adenitis, which is basically inflammation of the lymph nodes in the mesentery, which is like the tummy area of your body, in around the same place as your appendix. So he was sent home, and that was good because he was just approaching his GCSE exams, and we knew that he needed to be, at school and so on. However, he continued to have pain, and the pain was intermittent, but sometimes quite severe, sometimes moderate, sometimes mild, but sometimes very severe. So, for example, we took him to London to see a Shakespeare play at the Globe Theatre, which is really cool, by the way. And he spent the first half in the, what do you call it, like the medical tent, lying down because he was in so much pain. Anyway, we went home after that trip. He came home from school one day and he was just writhing around in agony, and we couldn't just think that was okay. So we took him back to the accident and emergency department, which the NHS in the UK is not doing so well. The staff are absolutely amazing. I have, the staff, I have hats off to them, because there's not enough of them, and they're so busy and whatever. Anyway, I'm not here to talk political stuff about the NHS, but let's just say it was a long wait in A&E for him. And he was in a lot of pain to the point where he was lying on the floor at one point. Eventually admitted, given some morphine for the pain because it was that acute. Had scans, and initially they thought, I don't know if I can talk and journal at the same time. I'm going to try. Initially they thought that it was, might use this sticker. I'm going to keep stopping my story in order to put stickers on. Initially they thought that he had a perforated appendix. So the first time they thought it was appendicitis, and it wasn't. This time they thought a perforated appendix. However, it wasn't. So he had the ultrasound. That's when they thought it was a perforated appendix. They did a CT scan to get a better look, and it wasn't. His appendix looked okay. So then one of the doctors came up with the idea that he had appendicitis and that the appendix was now healing itself, which kind of was an odd explanation for acute pain, but okay. So they then decided to do, what did they do next? I think they might have done a MRI scan. Oh no, the CT scan showed a mass in his abdomen. So they didn't know what this mass was, and the next doctor that saw him thought that perhaps he had TB, tuberculosis. And I was really surprised by that. I was thinking, well, he's got this mass in his abdomen and he's been in all this pain, and I never heard of people having tuberculosis in their tummy. You think of it being in their lungs, but it was in his tummy. And so they tested him they did blood tests for tuberculosis and lots of other infections, and then everything came back negative. So that's when they did the the MRI scan, and they could still see this mass in his abdomen. And by this point, we'd been in hospital. I stayed with him on a little camp bed. Eventually, I was sat on chairs for days and nights and days and nights, and eventually they're very good in the NHS, they got me a little camp bed so that I could sleep some of the time that I was with him, because I didn't want to leave him, because I'm that kind of mommy. So we knew he had this mass in his abdomen, and that was really worrying. And we'd been in hospital 10 days. He was supposed to be doing his exams, but he couldn't do his exams because he was in hospital. But then we discovered there was a hospital school, and they organised for him to do exams in hospital. And when he was discharged, they organised for him to do exams at home until he was okay to go to school. So yes, he was discharged, not because he was better, sadly, but because he needed to do his exams. He made it very clear he preferred to be at home, getting some washi tape, and he thought it would be easier at home, which is quite right, yeah. So they sent him home, and he had to have a colonoscopy, which is a horrible test where they use an endoscope to look inside your intestines, bowels, whatever you want to call them, and see. By this point they were looking for cancer, so he was put on the cancer pathway, and he had this horrible test, and bless him. And we waited and waited and waited and waited, and he continued to do his exams. He was really tired. He was still struggling with pain, so he was taking a lot of painkillers, but he managed to do his exams. I did have to give him some support with revision and so on, and I just needed to give him support all the time because he was really suffering, and it was horrible to see. So he did his exams, and he had this horrible colonoscopy, and it came back that he did not have bowel cancer, which was a big relief. So we were back in contact with the consultant looking after him, and we went to see him, and he said that they were finding it really difficult to diagnose him. There was definitely a mass in his abdomen, and they didn't know what it was, and it wasn't bowel cancer, so they thought perhaps it was lymphoma, which is another kind of cancer that can cause problems with your lymph nodes in your tummy. So it was then decided that the only thing they could do was to do surgery and take it out and see if they could then examine this mass that was in his tummy. Hopefully it would stop the pain and they could find out what it was. And we had to make sure that it wasn't cancer. So at this point we were really worried, and for me, I'm trying to get the back of this sticker. With my mental health condition, I was just on, the only thing I could do was look after my son. I couldn't do anything else. I just needed to look after my son. I couldn't make a YouTube video. I couldn't answer a letter. I couldn't reply to phone calls. All I could do was just focus on looking after him. And that's part of my problem with my dissociative identity disorder. If I get one kind of part that takes charge, and that's the one that wants to be in control, then it was the mummy. It was the mummy that wanted to look after her child. So it was decided that he would have surgery, and he'd done all his exams by this time, so they waited until he finished his exams and then they did the surgery. And so I went into hospital with him again, and I stayed with him again, and on my little camp bed by his bed. And he had the surgery, and it was quite a difficult surgery, so it lasted a long time. His dad and I were waiting to hear, and it was hours and hours and hours and hours. He was in theatre, and he was having a laparoscopy. It was a laparoscopy, so they just make small incisions, and it was robotic. So they were using a robot to help them remove the mass, and it wasn't in a great place. It wasn't easy. And as it turned out, once they got in there, I still haven't got the back of the sticker. Is it a sticker? It definitely is a sticker. Once they got into his tummy, they had to remove a lot more than they had anticipated. So they ended up removing part of his small intestine, the ileum, and part of his large intestine, the colon. And then they took out the bit that they removed, which included the mass that we didn't know what it was, and also bowel that had become like necrotic, it had died. And once they'd removed like the two ends, as it were, they had to then reattach them. And yeah, it was a long and difficult surgery, and it was a really worrying time for us and him, Theo, although he was unconscious for the surgery, obviously. I still haven't got this sticker back off. Oh, it just forward me. And so he came round, obviously, in recovery. The surgery was a success. You know, it had gone well. Even though it was difficult, it had gone well. Yay, he did it. And he was in recovery, and we didn't hear he was in recovery for so long, and we were getting really anxious because he'd been there for so long. And in the end, we were called and asked to come down because he was in so much distress they couldn't calm him from the pain. Now, they told him prior to the surgery that he wouldn't be in pain, that he'd have a morphine pump that he could just like click on and that would be fine. But he was in so much pain, and I think with him, he just panicked that something had gone wrong because he wasn't expecting the amount of pain that he was actually suffering. I mean, I don't think it's usual to call parents to recovery. It's not general practice, but they couldn't calm him down. They were worried that it would upset us to see him so distressed, but you know, at the end of the day, who cares about us? He was the one in the pain, and if seeing us helped, that was the right thing to do. Yeah. So we did calm him down because we were able to reassure him that I'd spoken to the surgeon and that the surgery had gone well, and that the pain was not an indication that something else was wrong. It was just an unfortunate consequence of a long and difficult surgery. So he was eventually sent up to the ward, and then we were in hospital for another 2 weeks. We were in 2 weeks the first time for all the tests. We were in hospital another 2 weeks. So he had all kinds of nasty complications. As I say, the pain, they just couldn't control the pain. It was just awful for him. And eventually, after 2 or 3 days of horrible pain, he started to vomit bile. Oh, green bile. Sorry, this is the point where it gets gruesome. And this is because his bowel had stopped working. And it was... he felt, as soon as that started, the vomiting started, he felt so much better. The pain started to ease off, and they put a nasogastric tube in so that he didn't have to vomit it, and they drained it, and for several days they got bags and bags of it, and the pain was then much more manageable for him. He could cope with it with the morphine pump, so that was good. That was one thing. And so we were just starting to think everything was okay, maybe soon we could go home, when he had a bleed. So he had a bleed from the surgery site, so that caused another lot of stress and worry, but he was fine. They stopped the blood thinners, they put him on blood clotters, and it was fine. It was just one of those things that happens sadly after surgery, and it's nobody's fault, and it's, you know, it just happened, and he coped. I'm just getting some scraps of paper here, look. Ooh, these are nice. And eventually he came home. But at this point we still didn't know what was wrong with him, like what had caused this mass in his abdomen, because obviously he had to go off to laboratories to be tested, which takes time. It takes time in the UK anyway. And by the way, I forgot to say, amongst all of this, he got his GCSE results, which is the exams that our kids do in the UK when they're 16, and determines what they do, you know, for their college places, year 11 and 12. And he got amazingly good results. I don't know how he did it with all that was going on and how poorly he'd been. I don't know how he did it. I was so proud of him. He really wanted to start college on a good foot and on time, and so he did. And anyway, we got back the results eventually of the analysis of the mass that they removed, and oh my God, thank God, it was not cancer. It was not malignant. Unfortunately, they could not identify a cause. He had craciating granulomas, which suggest it might have been something like TB or plague, both of which seems quite unlikely. Like, where would he catch either TB or plague? I don't know. And he tested negative for TB when he was in hospital, so they don't know what caused. And these granulomas are like clumped up into this big mass that was then affecting the blood flow to his bowel, which was what was causing him all the pain. And obviously it did need to come out, because you can't like have your bowel dying and just leave it there. So they did the right thing, and we had really good care, but they don't know what caused it, and we still don't know what caused it. In fact, he had his post-op appointment recently, and they're now doing chest x-rays just to double check that he doesn't have TB, which looks like the most likely thing, but he doesn't have symptoms, and he tested negative when he was in hospital, so we don't know. We're still waiting. But what we do know is that what they took out was not malignant and not cancer, which was enormous relief, obviously, as you can imagine. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, I don't know. I never want to use things like that because they're like so precious. Or maybe that one. And so we don't know. I'm going to just put some ink on this to add to the colour scheme. And I did so well. I was so proud of myself. I stayed in hospital with him. I cared for him. I helped look after him, because they're so busy in UK A&E at the moment. They're so, not A&E, sorry, on the wards even. They're just so busy. So to be there and be able to help look after him took a bit of pressure off the staff, and made sure that he had what, care he needed. But for me, with my mental health issues, it was an incredibly difficult thing for me to do. Really difficult to stay grounded during all of that stress. But the thing that I find with me is that I get through that, whichever part of me that takes over and says, right, crisis mummy mode, I can do it, I do it. But then afterwards, when I came home, and we should have been celebrating that all was done, that's when I go to pieces. I had just a complete meltdown. It was just terrible. I just couldn't keep myself grounded. Once I got home, I was just all over the place. And unfortunately, during one of my dissociative episodes, I had a fall. We don't know where or when or why or how it happened, because I don't remember, because I never remember. I mean, if I have those kinds of dissociative episodes, I never remember what's happened. So we don't know, but I had an enormous black eye, and I'm looking for a stamp to go there. I had an enormous black eye and a horrendous headache. My whole body was covered in scratches, which was really weird. I'm going to put Wazzy Wobby there, which was really weird because I had a coat on when I left the house in a dissociated state. My partner had a migraine at the time, so he didn't miss me. because he was asleep or sleeping off. You know, he'd had migraine medication, was asleep. So he didn't hear me go out. And I went out. And when I came back, I had this enormous black eye. My whole body was covered in scratches. We don't know how it happened. And I had a horrible headache. And I went to the doctor, who sent me to A&E. And it turns out I had fractured my skull, which sounds worse than it is. But obviously it's not a good thing when, because of a mental illness, things like that happen to you. Oh, it's a nice little bit of washy what's it. And so obviously I had to try and focus in on myself. And, you know, I spent a lot of time with my psychologist trying to, you know, get myself grounded again after all the stress. And here we are now, where we have, like that all wrinkled and grungy. Here we are now at the point where I have finally gotten myself sufficiently grounded to be using my journal and to be making a video where I'm just venting the whole lot, aren't I, really? I'm just venting it. I don't know, but I know that some of you will want to know what's been happening with me and why I have ignored you, which is, I haven't ignored you. Well, I suppose I have ignored the people that have sent me happy mails because I haven't replied yet. But that is going to be my next thing that I do. I am going to reply to my happy mails before. That's a nice stamp, isn't it? I'm going to reply to my happy mails before I do anything else, I think. Because I'm so appreciative of the kindness. People continuing to send me happy mails and messages, even though I'm not replying. That is just so kind. It's just so kind. Oh, that looks like a big old blob. I don't think that's the right kind of ink for that stamp, but never mind. Let's just put another one so it looks intentional. See, now it looks intentional, doesn't it? So that was my tale of woe. So it's been mainly a problem with my son, my daughter getting divorced, my son having all these health problems, and then me keeping myself together, but then really struggling to get it back together once he was sort of out of the woods. Oh, and I forgot to say, I was nearly ready to make a video. I'm feeling so much better when my niece, who I love to pieces, she got admitted to hospital, and it was like, for goodness sake, for our family, this has just been the worst year. 2024, I'm just writing it off. It's been the worst year ever. And she was admitted to hospital and she had pneumonia. And she was very, very poorly. In fact, she's still poorly. She is home now, but they're still monitoring. They're still doing regular blood tests, and she'll be having more x-rays because she had a very severe case of pneumonia. And initially they thought it was meningitis, which was terrifying because, I mean, you can die of either, but meningitis is you know, awful and dangerous. Pneumonia is not a good thing to have either. So she is now home and recovering, and so I finally got to the point where I'm making a video, which after all that waffle must be so long. Should I stop now? I think I should stop now, and I'm going to carry this on without waffling at you, and then I'll do a flip through. And I've got some orders coming, so some new stationery supplies as I get myself back in the groove, so I will share those with you as soon as possible. I also have some bits, passport traveler's notebook bits that I want to share with you, so that's, I think, what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell myself you're going to do another video soon. If I can remember how to edit this one and actually post it, I hopefully can. So I'm not even gonna, I mean, there's nothing much, I haven't finished, but I just feel like I've been talking forever and I need a break now, and I'm sure you do. And I will come back and do a flip through of this when it's finished being set up. And I will, as I said, I will share my stationery haul. Oh, look, see, you can tell how thin it is now compared to how it was because the elastic needs tightening. Oh my goodness. Oh guys, I love you all so much, and I know it probably doesn't seem like that because I've been missing for so long, but I really do. And I'm so happy to be back, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you all, and I will be replying to my happy mails, and I will be replying to comments, and I will be making another video very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.